Okay, Scott Walker, you spoke to him this past week about his view on immigration in light of Donald Trump's plan to end the birthright citizenship. Let's take a listen to part of that.
Looks to me like you're pretty intimidated by Donald Trump.
Oh, I don't think so at all. I don't talk about the guy. You guys talk about him. You guys might be intimidated, but
He
I'm
came
not.
out the other day and said, get rid of birthright citizenship, and a few hours later you said, me too.
No, actually, what I said earlier that day is I said a lot of the things he's talked about, I talked about months ago. I was on
Were
with
you
Chris.
talking about birthright citizenship months ago?
No, I was talking about the bigger issue of immigration. I talked about securing the border, enforcing the laws, going forward in a way that stood up and said we're not going to be for amnesty.
The distance between path to citizenship, which you once supported, and ending birthright citizenship, which is the last step you took, is pretty great, and he's the one who pushed you to that last step.
No, in both of those instances, what I've said, and I pointed out, I did a 3.5-hour gaggle, so the bits and pieces of people interrupting while we're taking questions along the way, was pointing out that I don't think any of those issues can be addressed until you actually secure the border and enforce the laws.
So do people misunderstand you're actually not for ending birthright citizenship?
I'm not taking a position on it one way or the other. I'm saying that until you secure the border and enforce the laws, any discussion about anything else is really looking past the very things we have to do.
So, John, what did you make of the governor's response overall to your questions? And do you think he has better survivability as the GOP field thins?
You mean Donald Trump's survivability or Scott Walker?
Scott Walker.
You know, Scott Walker is beginning to be tested in a way that he hasn't been tested in his political career previously as governor of Wisconsin or Milwaukee County executive. I think you saw a politician there under stress, and we saw it all week. He, when he was out in Iowa, Donald Trump released this plan. He was taking questions. He seemed to indicate, and several reporters all took this conclusion who were with him, that he was with Trump on getting rid of birthright citizenship, the 14th Amendment, all of the things that go along with that. By the time he got to the end of the week, he seemed not to want to go there. And, you know, there have been reports that his donors had been pressing him and saying, hey, we don't like some of the things that you're doing, want you to show more passion, but we don't want you to go too far on social issues. And so he says, in response to me, I'm not taking a position one way or the other. He got hammered for that during the course of the day on Friday. Today, when he was on with George Stephanopoulos on This Week, he was asked, do you want to get rid of the 14th Amendment? He said no. So I think he's somebody who's been buffeted by the shifting winds on this argument, and he's going to have to show, I think, to be effective in the long run, somewhat more steadiness on issues.